have, I think it's your older sister, whose middle name is Organization. That's the way you describe her in the book. And it's a wonderful way to illustrate, I think, how we can look at the people who appear in our dreams, and understand why we dream about the people that we do. So I'd like you to talk about the sister who says, my middle name's Organization.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
If you think about it, someone who you know very well, you probably know lots of different ways they express themselves and lots of different qualities. But when I think of people, there's usually one prominent quality that comes forward. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think of it as, if I were a caricaturist, what would be the not so much physical feature, but the mental feature that I would bring forward, saying this is what's most apparent about them. And I think the reason why I admire this in my older sister is that she has a strength that I don't in terms of being organized. And it's amazing to me the way she expresses it. Like she loves to cook, and in her kitchen, her spices are all alphabetized so she can easily find them. She's a runner, and every time she buys a new pair of running shoes, she writes the date on the side of the shoes that she bought them so she knows when she needs to get a new pair of shoes. And she has her Christmas wrapping paper all neatly put away so that if you need to wrap a present, you can immediately go there and find the size box you want. So when she shows up in my dreams, she symbolizes that quality that I would describe as being organized, knowing how to put things in their proper place, knowing how to find things. It's related to being efficient, to being accomplished. I mean, she's an amazingly accomplished woman. And it also helps me to see why I don't dream about her. She doesn't show up as a character in my dreams as often as some other people do, because I don't really consider myself to be organized in that way. I mean, I can if I need to, but it's not second nature to me.
You said character, and I think that's important. It's important in two ways that I can see. One is that dreams are like a story. They're like a TV show, a movie, and a private screening for each one of us when it goes on. And we actually choose, it's a subconscious mind that chooses, who's going to be the characters in the story, what the plot is, how it all works. Mm-hmm. And then we come in and interrupt it at some point, which we say then we had a dream or something like that. But they are characters. And so in that they reflect us. And then there's the element that you're talking to about organizational, being really the character of someone. And this is what I find in working with people with dreams and trying to aid them as a counselor and teacher to go into the depth of what dream interpretation really gives them, is to come away from being shallow, come away from being superficial. And that means it puts demands on people, I found, that most people are not really reflective that way. And I think that dreams help people be reflective. And I wondered if you had, from your experience, which is vast, if you have pointers or suggestions for people to be able to think differently when they're awake about people, to be able to even maybe hear them when they say, my middle name's Organization. Mm-hmm. And everybody in the family gets a laugh off of it, but you're the one that really understands it. You understand her better because of that, where maybe another sister or somebody else in the family that's just the way that person is. Mm-hmm. So what is the connecting link? How do we help people cross over from being very superficial to having depth in themselves and their thinking?
That's a great question. I think one thing that helps is to be observant. So, for example, the things that I described about my sister, that she alphabetizes her spices and that she writes the date of her running shoes. I mean, those are funny kind of things, but I wouldn't even think about doing something like that. So it makes me curious about what goes on in her mind that even stimulates her to think about doing things like that in a way that simplifies her life and that she's made a practice. So I think in terms of being observant of not only what someone does, but what does that tell me about the person that they do that? You know, what does it tell me about this person that if they have company coming over, they make sure that they clean their house? What does it tell me about this person that they always know what my favorite kind of coffee is, and they have it when I come to visit? What does it tell me about this person that I have to say things 5 times and they still don't hear it?
Mm-hmm.
So that it comes out of the realm of my reaction to them, which is kind of a self-centered thing, to being observant about them, how they think, why they make the choices that they do, and maybe even asking them, because sometimes people assume that they know why somebody is doing something, and that's not why the other person is doing it. So being curious is another way that I would recommend that people begin to understand another person.